to the TEDxPlattsburgh's special Salon, Power of 25. I'm Stefan Bilodeau, and I'm co-hosting this event with my great colleague, Aisha. Hi, Aisha.
Hi, hello everyone.
This is a special event that is to celebrate our first year and far beyond, by the way, by bringing through these incredible speakers all through the year. So 25 impactful speakers to find the answers on how we can achieve climate action, better and peaceful, inclusive, healthier, greener world, and so much more, with different perspective, different background, different viewpoints. Many of them are here today, and they will give you a further message in the next few minutes. So in 2021 and 2022, we've hosted 3 TEDx Countdown events and a TEDx Circle event, also 4, and this is the 4th today, TEDx Salon event. And we'll soon have a 4th TEDx Countdown just after the COP27 events. Aisha will give you some insights on our story and the context later on. But just before, I want to recall that these TEDx events are non-profit global initiatives to champion and accelerate solutions to the challenge of our time, turning ideas into action. Notably, TEDx Countdown is a global initiative to champion the solutions to the climate crisis, turning these ideas into climate action. The Countdown goal is to build a better future, cutting greenhouse gas emission in half by 2030 in the race to a zero carbon world, a world that is safer, cleaner, and better for everyone. So in our last events, we have been talking about inclusive and impactful action, talking about diversity and women leadership at the center of these discussions. We saw coming a year of many challenges, and this year, 2022, was definitely a challenging year. We could never imagine the level of struggle that would be generated by war, climate disaster, political shocks, energy and food crises, coupled with a lasting pandemic and supply chain disturbance. So let me share a few images from our last events, the last year, essentially. Just a second. I'm trying to do it, and should be starting now. Oops. So this is just a few slides that will show how many things we've talked about in the last few months. But this is also because we first want to thank very much our speakers, our participants, all the people, the viewers, the attendants, for being important stakeholders in the TEDxPlattsburgh endeavor and contributing to the last year with inspirational exchanges. That was great. It's already 1 year. It's definitely just the first. There will be many others. And it was launched because we wanted to have these discussions in place to let people have their voice, giving their example from their background, their countries, and we had people from around the world, by the way, exchanging with us last year. And we are becoming even more and more creative and inclusive, and always with one mission: empower and inspire professionals, especially women, young people, etc., to rise as resilient leaders, to create just a better world for everybody, to create sustainable impact, to create so much other things. I don't know why it's not changing by itself, but I'll give you some other slides soon. So this is just a call to action, a call to empower people, and this is just a start, as I said. Let me give you some and acknowledgement for some of the people which have spoken with us and this exchange with us in the last several months. So you have a few on this slide right now. Just want to give you more. Also, so there was Bhawna Arora, which is Peace Ambassador at the UN Peace Federation. There was Shihan Huran, which is manager now and advisor for government and public services at Pricewaterhouse, PwC. He will be with us in a few minutes. We have Dr. CJ Palmer, founder and CEO of Sustainable Impact and Sustainable Soundtracks, and also a songwriter in Sweden. Last year, we've even presented one of their great songs Eve co-authored, and that was awesome. We also have Divya Singhal, chairperson of the Center for Social Sensitivity in Action and in Goa, so at the Goa Institute of Management. We have Meral Gazelle, partnership managers at Women's Entrepreneurship, at the Women's Entrepreneurship Accelerator at UN Women. She will give us a message later on. We have Jess Gosling, Innovation and Strategy at the UK Gov. So she's now the chair of the Neurodiversity Network as well. Renan Gill, which is with us also, Corporate and Public Affairs, ESG, and Sustainable Development Public Policies for the Greater Sao Paulo in Brazil. We had Roshan Kindred, Chief Diversity Officer at PagerDuty in California, USA. Celine Ozunaldim, which is from Girl Up, but also at the United Nations Foundation. She will be giving us her message later on. Anna Poberzna, which is an impact fintech and ESG professional working in the water, energy, metal, and minerals sector. We also had Tareen Chong, intern at Commit to Green and leader of the Brearley Environmental Action Committee. So Roshan Kindred, Roshan Kindred, which I just presented. So I will not present her twice, but she's from PagerDuty, Chief Diversity Officer, as I said. Pallavi Srivastava, founder and CEO of Outer Better Planet, great enterprise. Sucheta Bandare, farmer and also founder of Earth Healthy Food Products Company, great entrepreneur. Dr. Zineb Alemdar, Dean of the Business School and directs the Gender Studies Research Center at Okan University in Turkey. We had Shiran Mlandowski-Samek, Vice President at Impact at DNID, social tech entrepreneur. She gave us some insight on the Listen to My Voice campaign they've done last year. Anya Singh, innovation developer at RBC, founder and director at CNXN, co-founder of Mamita Health and blockchain developer. She talked about the blockchain with us last year. We had Dr. Sugi Subawikrama, which is with us today from this originally from this really beautiful island, Sri Lanka, but she's now a licensed psychotherapist in New York and New Jersey and Six Sigma black belt, and member of the American Council Association. She's with us. She will give her message in a few minutes. Tima Deryan, a mindset coach, social entrepreneur, community mobilizer, and mountain climber, the Everest, not less than that. So, in the first Lebanese woman and youngest Arab to summit this big mountain. And I am with my colleague Aisha Bazak, an award winner coach, which I'm pleased to to be co-hosting with her these great and outstanding speakers I've just talked about. So thank you very much, all of you. At TEDx, as I said earlier, we wanted to give a voice to those who want to take action for a sustainable, a greener, a fairer, and healthier world. And we add that definitely with all of you which were participating with us. So I have the great pleasure to host these events, as I said, and we're really thankful for all the contributions, and we would like to celebrate that with you today, this first year. But first, let me give you the microphone, Aisha, and give us your insights, as usual. Great insights. Thanks.
Thank you, Stefan. It was a great introduction, and thank you to our all lovely speakers who are here today and who couldn't be with us today as well, and our attendees. So Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are watching us, because we are international. And I would like to start with two questions who are watching us. Actually, my two questions: raise your hand if you want to create a significant impact for better lives and thereby for a better world. And raise your hand also if you are a little bit confused or struggled how to do that. Sometimes it's challenging. And actually, if you have answered yes to both of these questions, then you are at the right place and right time. And I will explain why through the short story of TEDxPlattsburgh's, how it was born. And in addition to Stefan's story, I will go a little bit different pathway. So it was in 2020, September. It was a rainy day like this in Scotland, and I attended a virtual conference by United Nations, and it was about Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. And it is when I met with Stefan, and from that moment, we started to work together virtually on our common passion, and that is actually to boost a transformational change in lives of many people through accelerating SDGs through a unique pathway. And actually, to find out that pathway took us 1 year, and after 1 year, we just have our aha moment and had our TEDx license. And the question is, what led to our aha moment? And actually, these figures led to our why and aha. And 200 million, 1 trillion, 1,035, and 70. Even though they may seem irrelevant, they are strongly correlated with each other. And what are those figures? And 200 million workdays are lost due to poor mental well-being each year. And that is a cost of 1 trillion per year globally. And 1,035 pounds per year is the cost for employee, and it is more or less in every country. And 70% of small business owners suffer from anxiety, and all these figures were just in before COVID-19. And this is when we put the head of business. But the scary part comes when we put human head on ourselves, because on average, people with poor mental health live at least 10 years less. And that was our starting point, because we started to create awareness around, actually, there are two misbeliefs or myths around mental health. And first one is mental health is personal and individual responsibility. And the second one is that mental health interventions should be isolated from other interventions. And actually, mental health well-being as part of Sustainable Development Goal SDG 3.4 is multidimensional, and it is related with individual, work-related, and environmental and social dimensions. And it is also interrelated with SDG 13, climate change, and SDG 8, economic growth, and workplace infrastructure, and peace. And however, even though there were great attempts, interventions about SDGs, our insight is that we are missing one essential point, and that is the core of every action, and that is intrinsic motivation. And because every behavior is the outcome of intrinsic motivation, and external motivations just support that. And that is how TEDx classwork impact intrinsic motivation for persistent act to tackle climate change was born in November 2021. And after that, we wanted to create awareness that we have a group that is usually neglected or not touched significantly when it comes to sustainable development goals and, of course, other areas. And that was women leadership, because 30% of leaders globally are women, 80% of people displaced by the climate change are women. For almost 40% of the global labor force is represented by women, despite the fact that across 130 countries, by research, women in government positions were more likely to sign on to the international treaties to reduce global warming than men. Women adopt innovative and preventative measures at a faster rate than men. And where women have higher social and political status, they are more successful at climate change actions and other SDGs. But that doesn't mean that, oh, women leaders are great and they should be the only one. Actually, no. What we actually wanted to promote is all inclusive leadership, because women leaders and male leaders have unique capabilities and skills. We need all of them equally. And that is why, TEDx Countdown, Plattsburgh, Impact 2.0 and 3.0 were born. And that was female entrepreneurship and leadership for an impactful climate change. With, of course, all this way we have, as Stefan mentioned, lovely speakers on the way. And that was TEDx Countdown part, but then we didn't stop and we said, okay, if that is the group, women leaders, we need to support to rise. What is the challenge on the way? And we actually opened the Pandora's box, because 1 in 2 women have higher levels of stress, 1 in 2 women have low levels of self-confidence and higher levels of inner critics now compared to the times before COVID-19. And this is the question: how women leaders can rise if their internal environment is not supportive. So this is from inside to out rather than out to inside. And that is when TEDxPlattsburgh's Salon series, Resilient and Confident Leadership and Entrepreneurship with a specific focus on mindset, were born in May 2022. And also we have risen the question, okay, there are great leadership training programs for capabilities, skills, and knowledge. And on the other hand, there are great programs about growth mindset, but why they are fragmented, why they are separated? They should be in all one. Because from 2070s research and many organizations move into the whole leadership concept, and they are practicing this, but it is not a common practice, in particular when it comes to the female leadership and whole leadership. Just not going into the details, it is the synergy of right brain and left brain integrated. So emotional growth mindset and also left brain skills like analytical thinking and knowledge, all blended. And that is why we wanted to create awareness, and that was TEDxPlattsburgh's Salon 2.0, how to become an inclusive, confident, and resilient female leader. And just I will share a little bit knowledge here. For example, if we all have these inner critics, but if we have an inner critic saying that subconsciously or consciously, you're a failure, you can't achieve that, you don't have that time, or if we have an inner critic saying that your boss or X person is bad, and he's frustrating, he's not supporting, if we have all these judgmental questions in our mind, or if we are having restless saboteur, let's say that 1 hour we are doing something, and the second hour we feel urged to do something else, and third hour something else, and we are in a way juggling between many tasks. Or if we have a perfectionist stickler saboteur trying to do everything 100% perfect, or we always looking for rewards for our work, then how can really rise and become leaders? Because these are actually all some types of saboteurs. And at this point, we introduce the concept of mental fitness, and it is to capacity to respond to life's challenges with a positive mindset rather than a negative one. And being said, so it is positive intelligence, the percentage of time your mind spends serving you, like being creative, having creative, constructive conversations, having empathy, opposed to sabotaging you, like feeling frustrated, stressed, or judgmental opinions. And this is actually an operating system, and it all comes from global research among 500,000 participants, including CEOs of Fortune top 500 companies, and that was a research by Stanford University lecturer Shirzad Shamin, and it is about changing the neural pathways, neurodiversity, and with stemming from neurosciences, performance sciences, positive psychology, and cognitive behavior. And we mentioned that, for example, growth mindset stemming from mental fitness, blended with leadership skills and knowledge training, where coaching is the bridge between two, that is where and how leaders, especially women leaders, can rise. And we want all female, especially female leaders to rise. And these are just examples from my work that I worked through whole leadership concept, where at the end they, let's say, raise their confidence at 20%, and 12% increase at emotional intelligence, and 14% increase at resilience. And this is what we want for many women. And it is why TEDxPlattsburgh wants to empower 500 women until 2025. But we are not saying this way is the only way. That is why we have our amazing speakers. They just introduce and inspire us through their unique own ways, approaches, insights on how to become resilient and confident leaders. So that is why we are also thankful to our speakers, because they are showing unique perspectives and approaches to all of us to become resilient leaders. So we are always against one for all approach, by the way. So I will leave just 30 seconds to really focus on this quote. And my question will be to you, are you ready to be challenged? And also, are you ready to be inspired? Because now we will hear from our lovely speakers. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I say great, and as I said, inspirational comments and insights. Thanks very much for that. And exactly as you said, it's the time to hear from our speakers, which are here with us today. And without further ado, we can start right away with Dr. Subawikrama. As I've said earlier, she's from Sri Lanka, but now in New York, and helping a lot of people. And she's also a Six Sigma belt person. So, Sugi, just give us your insights, your message for the people which are listening. Right? Thanks.
Thank you so much, and congratulations. We hit the 1 year. And Stephen and Aisha, I know you two are like tirelessly working in these projects. And thank you for inviting us, giving us the opportunity as well. I remember Aisha asked 3 questions and preparing for this meeting. And very first one is like, what is the challenges, go through all the challenges during the last year? What is the lessons we learned? And my understanding is it was still we have hope. And that's what we all keep going for an extra mile. At the same time, previously, I know I touched a little bit on the mental health. As an individual who's been in more than 20 years in the mental health field in the national and international level, its World Health Organization says like 1 in 8 people struggling with their mental illness issues. And National Alliance on Mental Health in the United States, it says 1 in 5 people in USA struggling with mental well-being. It means people having social, emotional, and mental well-being issues no matter where you live. And I think it's highly impacted by last year and last 1.5 years due to all the situations around the world, what happens. And it is, I personally believe, always healthy body, healthy mind, and better you. Therefore, it's when we are lack of coping skills, coping mechanisms, that's where the problem rising, right? Mental health issues always there. And each individual here, we are going to bring different things to the table. And our experience, our knowledge going to different, and how we deal with it. In my case, sometimes I walk, sometimes I breathe, and sometimes I talk. Like that's where our culture is, and it's therapy. And sometimes you have to go to the professional people and pay, and some cultures it's free, right? Therefore, the very first question, what you have taken, learn, still it is in our hands. We have the power to make the difference, and still we have the hope. Therefore, not only the physical health, it's really, really important to pay attention to our mental well-being. What you do, how high a position you are in, anybody can face that situation. Therefore, be mindful, knowing your positives, areas to improve, be you, and identify your own skills. And the second question is, what initiatives or projects do you want to put forward? That's a great question. It was journey, right? It's like life. And I never thought, and I got 2 opportunities to do 2 TED Talks in the topics of immigrants, resilience, and trauma and rising about trauma. Those 2 are some of the immigrants and resilience, one of my related to my doctoral research about acculturation and acculturative stress, and how the leaders going to utilize and how it can impact on. And that was a great opportunity, and it opened so many doors, like people contacting, and it's research opportunities, speaker opportunities. It's one of the areas I think immigrants, we talk about them, but when it comes to mental health, very lack of discussion. But the research identified that multiple research studies, first generation immigrant has lower mental health challenges compared to their US counterparts. That's where I was very, very fascinated about it. And I was able to talk to some of the Harvard researchers who wrote that article. And I'm working on that area. And it was really, really a great thing. And I want to keep on working on immigrants and their mental health. And the second area is trauma, as multiple times Stephen said. I'm coming from Sri Lanka. My country had 30 years of war and tsunami, multiple things. It's trauma. People don't talk about it. But in this speech, when I gave it, I talk about how miscarriages as a trauma. And that is when it comes, women, we go through so much stress and we want to balance our family life. We want to be the leaders and sometimes wipe our tears and go to the world saying, I'm okay. Sometimes it's okay to say, I'm not okay as well. And therefore, I want to be brave and go outside and talk about how trauma can impact on individuals. It's different, and how it's important people to discuss about it. Therefore, that is one of the area I'm working on. Not only the women, and when it comes to miscarriages, it can impact to the partner, the husband, the family. We don't know how to deal with grievance, and sometimes because there's no tangible evidence there when it comes to miscarriages. Therefore, those are the things, like those two topics were hidden in our society: immigrants, mental health, and trauma. Not much of talking when we are in the leadership roles. And therefore, those are the two areas. And the other area I started was, I want to give back always, not getting so much. When we become leaders, we want to show we are power men, power women. I want to give back to my community. Therefore, I was involved much with the TEDx translation program and doing lots of the YouTubes. And in my country language, I want people to know these beautiful messages and go back to them. Therefore, I was able to win one of the competitions, and I was able to be part of this year TED Women and conference. It was a great, and it was not easily come to you, and it opened so many areas in my life, and I was so grateful to be there. Especially there are beautiful leaders from all over the world, how they came, who they are, their journeys, how struggling all these journeys, and listening to them. That was one of the key areas I learned. It's not rosy road. Everybody has their own story to tell. And the other one, the last question you asked, I know maybe I went about 5 minutes. What would be your message for 2023, considering the current context and our future? I thought about it. That was a great question too. I am working with veterans of foreign wars as a chairwoman and with youth. Actually, I want to empower our youth. They are going to be the future. We came this far, and I struggled in the leadership. Like sometimes we did not have good leadership, understanding. And I have, there is a good commander here, and she's a woman, and we are working together to give back, doing workshops, seminars, whenever we can, and empower these youth. And my last message is, it is Catherine Fulsifire. I think she said, never give up, have hope, expect only the best from life, and take action to get it. And that's it I'm doing, and it's small steps. And I appreciate all the leaders who's there. And we are so proud of today. We are celebrating 1 year. Again, bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, all too, Stephen and Aisha. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sugi, with a really great message, giving back, but also never give up. So this is important. It's in our hands, as you said. Before we go to our next live speaker, we have a pre-recorded message from Meral Güzel from UN Women. She's the manager at the Women's Entrepreneurship Accelerator, and we just wanted to show it to you before we get to our next speaker, Dr. CJ Palmer. That will be you just after for you to know. Let me share the screen, and it should.
Hello, I am Meral Güzel. I am the Partnership Managers of the Women's Entrepreneurship Accelerator Initiative. Good morning and good afternoon to all the participants for being here today and to listen to us. And we are gathered here to celebrate the first year anniversary of this text chapter. And congratulations to Stefan and Ayşe as the courageous organizers. It has been a pleasure for me to address you on leadership and resilience, focusing on women entrepreneurs who are, by definition, super confident and in practice, super resilient. Women entrepreneurs are innovators in the market and leaders in their communities. Entrepreneurship helps break the gender biases in the communities and allow women to have a voice in the public, or to have a public one. We also see entrepreneurship as maybe the only way for women left behind in conflict and disaster areas to gain economic power. Same for displaced women like refugees. Women-owned businesses have a crucial role in economic development in all the countries. They create income for their families. Also with income comes better education for their children, better health, better housing conditions. They create employment for their communities. And please keep in mind that women businesses tends to employ women employees and women workers. And of course, they bring new values to the products and services. As Women's Entrepreneurship Accelerator, we do support the women entrepreneurship agendas to create enabling ecosystems for women entrepreneurs. Happy to continue this discussion and talk more about the different ways we can advance women entrepreneurship at the next TED Talks. And again, happy anniversary.
Yes, another great message from Meral, talking about women entrepreneurship being by essence leaders in their community, and great initiative by UN Women to push that forward. Okay, so as I said, CJ, that will be your time for giving us your speech. But I just want to recall that you're the CEO of Sustainable Impact, great enterprise, and Sustainable Soundtracks as well. As I said, you're a songwriter, and you have co-written a great song which we've promoted, essentially. Great song on taking action for environment. We don't have time to lose, essentially, if I simplify the message. A great way to say that. So let's go ahead. I give you the microphone and give your insights the way you see fit.
Thank you so much, Stefan, and thank you to you and Ayşe for this pulling off this great initiative, and grateful and honored to have been invited to speak and to share some of our work about a year ago, I think, and also great to be back here and to see you again, and you've definitely come a long way, and I'm really looking forward to be following this great initiative. I think it's very important, obviously, what you're doing. So thank you very much for that, and I've been listening so far with great interest to some very good and strong messages already. So not sure what I could add, but I'll give it a shot here. And as was mentioned, we were asked to give our view on this year, which is coming to an end pretty soon. And you know, I'm based in Sweden. I live far up in the north, and it's been a very different year, I think, for many people in this part of the world. and we can't help but mentioning the war in Ukraine, obviously, which has been casting a huge shadow over our part of the world. And I think I'm right when I speak for quite a few people in northern parts of Europe and all over Europe that this was a big shock, what happened. And it's speaking about mental health. So I'm a medical doctor as well since 20 years, and it's awakening new kind of feelings. And speaking about mental health issues and anxiety on a personal note, it's you can't help but noticing that this is a new phenomenon, I would say, for many people in this part of the world, my age and younger, we've never experienced war. It's been far away, as horrific as it's been, but it hasn't come this close as it has done during this year, and it's been stressful, I think, for many people in Sweden. Many people have had difficult times to how to handle and how to cope with this. So it's without any making it any similar to the climate crisis, but there are some similarities, I would say, in reaction patterns and the feeling of, can I really affect this? Is there anything I could do to change this? And the sometimes experience of, there's not too much I could do about this. It's just a big threat or a big black cloud that is hanging over our heads, and can I do anything about it? So this war has taken the focus of, from me personally, it has taken the focus of what's really important and what's crucial, and emissions are coming back up, and from environmental standpoint, it's obviously led to a lot of negative effects, and just the war itself, and then of course all the side effects globally that we're seeing. So if I had to choose one thing or one important event globally or in our vicinity, it's obviously this horrific war. And geopolitical aspirations can create such mess and disaster for people, not only who are suffering from this in horrific ways, obviously what's going on in the Ukraine, but also far away with food supply and many other complications to this. So that unfortunately has to be, from my perspective, one of the top negative things that has sort of influenced my image of 2022 from my perspective in this part of the world. And of course, I'd like to comment on the introduction here by Aishi as well, and changing subjects a little bit. But one's self-image is important, and hearing these new numbers with so many people being affected by mental health is a big obstacle for of course, for having the being able to lead the life that you want to. And I think there's many things in our society and in our world, the way we judge each other and the way we see create value for ourselves or not, that are very important to revisit and start rethinking. So just a short note about that as well. An initiative or project that we that I would like to put forward. Of course, there are literally thousands of projects out there that are doing fantastic things to improve in all the SDG areas and other related important topics as well. For myself, we're working hard with sustainable impact, mainly, which is, as some of you may know, is an online community for sustainability. There's been a lot of work sort of behind the scenes, so to say, and that is continuing. But I've been more than happy to come back and share more news as these preparations come to more sort of extrovert activities, which is scheduled for pretty soon. And the third topic that we were asked to sort of prepare for this meeting is, what would your message for 2023 considering the current context and of our future be? So just again on a personal note, I think people have the power to stop wars without using violence. So I really hope that will happen, that people will step up to end this. It doesn't have to be a violent way to stop this. There are other ways of doing that, but that would be obviously great if that happened. Another comment: we're all one. I think it's not about oneself. It's we're all in the same boat in so many aspects in life, and sometimes the individualistic sort of touch to our lives, and not saying it's self-centered, but we're recognized often for things that not necessarily bring us together. I think compassion is going to be extremely important moving forward. It's one of those words or phrases that have been used a lot, but it doesn't mean it becomes less important next year. Emotional intelligence was mentioned in introduction here as well, equally important. I think it's going to be important that we see each other, that we uplift each other, and our sort of awareness and consciousness of many things and who we are and how we behave. Another thing that came to mind here as I was listening is, take the time to listen to other people. Many of us lead very intense lives where we rarely have or take the opportunity to really sit down and listen to a fellow human. And I think we're many people who could see that, could testify that once you do that, you really take the time to engage with someone else, it could change another person's life, not at least speaking in the area of mental health. And of course, as mentioned before, hope is going to be crucial as we face big challenges moving forward. And I think that's about it. Happy to help and support in any way me and my organizations can. So thank you very much for listening. Thanks again, Aishi and Stefan for great initiative and for inviting me here. Thank you.
Thanks very much, CJ. We return to thank you for the message. Indeed, we're all in the same boat, as you said, and compassion, a key word that we need to apply, essentially uplifting and listening others. Great messages that will serve in the climate action, in the struggle like the wars in Europe. As you said, it's for Northern Europe, but also for all Europe. It's a kind of new thing in generations. So that's changing. Even if many countries around the world were living, and I think Sugis talked about what happened in Sri Lanka for decades, but in Europe it's kind of it's a kind of wake up, which was a harsh one, and 2022 definitely was that wake up year, and tough. Anyway, mental health definitely behind so many things we need to talk about. Thanks very much. Okay, so our next speaker today would be Renahan Gill. As I said earlier, is from Greater Sao Paulo, is the corporate and public affairs responsible on ESG as well. So Renahan, always a pleasure to have you speaking, giving your insights and message. So I give you the microphone right away. I think that's yours to give us your insights.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Izzy. It's amazing to be here. Such incredible people around. Thank you again for this opportunity to share some thoughts. Well, from my side, the year 2022 was really challenging year and still. And with all the projects that I've been through, I hope I continue to have space to contribute, especially to health, and continue working in the development agenda and peace fields, because our world needs too much this paradigm change in terms of how we understand peace and how we connect to each other and with the environment too. The 2023 will be a year full of opportunities for all of us in all sectors. Will be a year that will open huge gates to propose and implement effective, scalable, and durable solutions. We must have attention to this. To the future, I hope, in terms of human development, we all maybe find a way to understand the importance of taking care of each other and the entire Earth in a more sensibly and consistently way. Well, I don't know if I have more to say, because we have too many impressive people to tell too many wonderful things, and I want to learn and hear from all of you. I want to thank Izzy and Stefan again for this nice opportunity, and I wish everyone a wonderful journey. Count on me. Have you a great event, a great conversation. I'll be there for you too, everyone. Cheers from Brazil.
Thank you very much, Renan. Yes, this is a great journey, and you contributed to it a lot. You were there in many of our events, and we really, really appreciate the contribution, your contribution, definitely. Thanks very much. And by the way, you're working a lot on a topic which is more important than ever, I think, peace around the world. So we just had examples from CJ earlier and from Sugi. So this, anyway, this is more, it's kind of top of the list in the things that definitely one of the items we need to take care of right now through the people, but peace being the objective, a goal. One of the many goals, but definitely a big one. Okay, so now we have also the pleasure to have Anna Probersana. So she's an impact fintech specialist working also on ESG, and is also working on value chain for water, energy, minerals, so many things that are affected by the supply chain crisis right now. So you're definitely impacted in your daily work, I'm sure, and I'm looking forward to hear your great insights and great comments today. So you can go ahead, Anna. Thanks to be here, by the way.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for having me here, like as everyone probably says. And I say very much thank you for carry on this group into their next stages. So, and Stefan, to you. To be more specific, I'm in the call right now. And waste. Why? It's very simple, because our Earth right now is being over-extracted by 2.6 times. In certain countries, this ratio is 5 to 1. So what do I mean by that? We extract resources or over-extract and over-exploit our Earth's capital, which includes not just natural capital, but also human capital, natural capital, material capital, and there are different types of capital according to the regenerative economy, 5 times more than we should. And obviously this drives in economic terms the emission, as we can see, coupled of course with monetary and fiscal policies globally. That's speaking about the global context. If we're talking about very specific areas, why, what, and how, and where, and what I would like to share with you whilst learning from all of you, make this world a slightly better place after ourselves. I would say it's first of all, it's self-awareness and emotional stability, because if we have self-awareness and emotional stability ourselves, that creates an ability to have a greater awareness of others and the city and the externalities around us, and internalize them. So the problem right now with the world, because we are consuming 5 times more than we should without regenerating in us. Why? It's because we are not doing the total accounting, because we are not self-aware. When we are self-aware, we choose to be ignorant or arrogant, or sometimes it's coupled with both. But it's not necessarily always because, but it just sometimes happens because out of their realities. For instance, people in Africa, right? There's a statistic that people in Africa, million, used to be 700 by the way, or 800, sorry, are dying from the air pollution. And air pollution comes from, again, from over-extraction on the resource, and ineffective use of those resources. So we all depend on the natural capital. However, that self-awareness is not always present to rebalance that approach and to improve that. And it's not necessarily only driven by externality forces like colonizators, like in the companies that do common use of resources to extract without returning them properly back into the local environments, but it also comes back to the provisions and so forth. So it comes back to the people and to our centricity and self-awareness. The next point, of course, it's about clarity. And I think clarity is the underline and the silver line for everything. And so out of all of the points, clarity is fundamental. Because about ourselves, if we're clear about their nature, about environment, about others, we have clarity in terms of what were the lessons, where we are now, and where we're going, and what needs to be done at which place of time and how fast, and with whom it's going to be done. It's a matter of. So the second point would be clear communication or clarity. And communication is key because we all remember the history of which literally fell apart, its construction fell apart. Why? Because people stopped understanding each other and language. And it's a bit symbolic, but it's about clarity of perception, clarity of expressing ourselves, and clarity of building the bridges between ourselves towards the win-win resolutions instead of zero-sum games. And the next point, of course, is going to be probably their most pragmatic and realistic or applied one is ability to make and execute plans. Having their self-awareness and clarity, moving ignorance and arrogance is all great. This is all fundamental blocks or we have in order to understand each other, make plans. But the plans without execution is great vision, and great vision is not enough. Great declared at 26 COPs by this time, or however them, and we're going to have a 27th just around the corner. However, we're behind the 1.5 degrees in certain regions of their Earth. It's behind 4 degrees. We're already at 4 degrees, and it's past in certain instances, right? And this is what brought us to this 2.6 over X of extraction in certain regions, which amount to the total cost of 44 trillion, I guess, GDP. So the reality is obvious, right? We know all the problems, we know all the potential challenges which we are facing, or not all, but some of that. But again, it's about being honest and clear about those challenges, what instruments we have, and how we're going to build it, bridge from what we know to where we need to get to, and do it in a sort of inclusive way, the tide for everyone, or at least in a sort of proportionate and fair way. Why? Because over the last 50 years, their poverty gap not only decreased, but actually increased. If you look at the statistics and overall between super poor and super rich. So I think there are some disparities which we probably have had good lessons. And now with intensifying the weather changes in the weather patterns and wars that do take place not only in European continent, not only in Ukraine, and I'd like to remind there are 27 more hotspots in the world, Yemen, Palestine, Eritrea, Sudan, and many more other countries. And they're equally as important as Europe, equally as important. And this is where inclusivity and equitable, just and fair transition comes into place. And us would be those 3 points as I mentioned: self-awareness, clarity, and communication, and of course, actionable and executable plan via collaboration.
Great message. Collaboration is absolutely a key word. You are right, recalling that there are many hotspots all around the world. That's why I referred to what happens in Europe as a wake-up call for in Europe, but it has happened for decades all around the world in different ways, but as with as much struggle. Inclusive, you said that it should be done in an inclusive ways, because right now the world is increasing the inequalities, not decreasing it. So we need to make sure that everybody is taken care of in this, because a few are taking more than what the world is able to deal with. You were talking about resources, you're right. And it's not the vast majority of the people that are over consuming the world. There's a portion of the population and organization that takes much more than the rest. That's absolutely a kind of simple accounting thing, but this needs to be corrected, because there is no way out of this situation if it's not corrected. You are absolutely right. Needed to come back to the basics if we want a solution, a long-term, a sustainable solution. Great message, Anna. Thanks for that. Now I invite Shihan. Shihan is manager. I just want to, it's your new role. I don't want to mess the name. So you're advisory and government and public services at PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. And we're really pleased to have you here today. You were with us a few times in the last year, and we are always absolutely pleased to have your insights and comments. So today I'll let you go ahead with yours for this period of the time of the year. Go ahead, Shihan.
Thank you. Same here. It's always a pleasure to be part of this team. So hello everyone. First of all, it's a great honor to be here, and it's indeed privilege to speak about urgent matters, particularly climate change, inequality, and working toward a green, resilient, and inclusive recovery. And as I said, I'm honored to be part of this community working towards a world where people and the planet thrive. As Stefan introduced me, I serve as manager in the government and public services team at PwC Turkey. So PwC is committed to advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion through an evidence-based strategy designed to achieve well-defined and meaningful aspirational goals. Until now, all the speakers are touching upon very critical subjects. So I try to add my perspective. So this year we face many new challenges compared to previous years, actually. Ongoing geopolitical events, soaring inflation, fragile economic recovery from COVID-19 pandemic, supply chain disruptions, and higher energy prices continue to create uncertainty and pose new risks to global economic activity and financial conditions. So these pictures of multiple simultaneous crises is a complex and challenging one. However, it's critical that largely ignored, as driver of all of them has been climate change. Most global crises point to a single root cause, the unsustainable use of our planet's resources. Recent studies show emissions compared to 2010 levels need to fall by 43% by 2030 in order to meet the Paris Deal's goal. However, the latest United Nations report underlined, in fact, current commitments from governments will increase emission 10.6% by 2030. Also, national climate assessment projects rising temperatures and extreme heat are expected to decrease worker productivity by $221 billion a year by 2090, and climate-related weather disasters are projected to cost the $500 billion a year. They are huge. And plus, World Meteorological Organization reported the biggest year-on-year jump in methane concentration in both 2020 and 2001. And on the other side, climate change is inherently a justice issue as well. Vulnerable countries and communities are already suffering from severe losses and damages of lives, livelihoods, crops, and infrastructure caused by unavoidable impacts of climate change. Periods of extreme hot water cost the global economy an estimated $16 trillion between 1999 and 2013, while hitting the poorest countries 4 times as hard as richer ones. On the other hand, the climate change emergence also threatens progress towards gender equality. Just an example, women and children are 14 times more likely to die during devastating natural disasters. That's huge. In particular, poor women living in rural areas have been especially affected among these groups. In 2020, over the 1/3 of the global population lacked access to sufficient food. And the gender disparity in the prevalence of severe food insecurity has widened, with food insecurity being 10% greater among women than men. So taking all of those into account to effectively address climate change requires change in the way the decision makers and us think about our lives, the economy, and the production as well. We are witnessing the countries has already set ambitious goals to tackle the causes of climate crisis, transforming energy systems, reducing the dependence on fossil fuels, investing in clean, renewable energy sources, restoring nature, strengthening circularity in the economy, and surely while ensuring a just transition. And it's extremely important that the transition to green economies holds huge potential. Estimates suggest shifting to a low carbon economy could create $26 trillion in growth and more than 65 million new jobs by 2030. But again, unfortunately, women will not automatically benefit from this. Current green work policies and investments focus on mainly male-dominated sectors such as STEM, construction, and manufacturing, and high barriers to women's economic justice. That is why gender-responsive approaches must be needed to recognize women's diverse and gender-specific interests and needs. Hence, gender-responsive approaches enable their participation and leadership in developing, implementing, and also monitoring mitigation and response actions. That is to say, focused interventions are needed to ensure that the green transition is just and inclusive and will allow diverse groups of women to take full advantage of multitude of opportunities. To sum up, my message will be tackling this crisis, especially in the long term, requires steadfast policy commitment and investments in sustainability to strengthen the society's resilience. Inaction is increasingly responsible, more costly than action. So in achieving these goals, all stakeholders should collaborate, and they will need to step up their pioneering role in climate finance and develop more innovative approaches to pave the way for flexible and less risky financing for particularly, of course, less developed countries. So congrats, your first anniversary. You're doing a great job, and it's again my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
It's our pleasure to have you in, Shihan. So yes, tackling the different struggles that are in front of us in a steadfast way, that's the only way to go, essentially. And resilience, another keyword you came with, which is an important one. We need to build resilience, and one of the things to do that is to reduce inequalities. You gave examples on the gender equality, even in disasters. So the number of deaths kind of 14 times bigger when it comes to women and children, then I would call that the general population. So this is this needs to be corrected, and we need to go, and definitely we all need to go towards a low carbon economy. There is no choice if we cannot stay in doing business as usual. That's definitely the thing to do. So Tima just apologized. She needed to go because of other commitments. So we will not have her direct message. But I just want to recall, as I said earlier, she's an example herself. She's a message herself. You know, she's the first women Lebanese and youngest Arab, which have climbed the Everest. So she's an example of being resilient, courageous, and going forward, even in tough situation. But also, she's also an entrepreneur, creating jobs in her country, Lebanon. So she's, and this is a country that needs economic actions, definitely, as you have all have seen. So just wanted to say that we were pleased she was able to be there. We would have been happy to get her message, but she is a message herself, so we keep it as the message. I wanted to also to give the floor to Céline Ozunaldim, which is not with us, but she sent her message earlier today. So I will just share my screen in a minute or in a few seconds, and she will do that in the best way. She's working with the UN Foundation, by the way, and she's one of the responsible for Girl Up, a great initiatives that put forward young women and empowers them. That's anyway, I will let her give our message in a second. Should be starting right away.
Greetings from Ankara, Turkey. I'm Selin. I'm a passionate gender equality activist working with the United Nations. And today I'm super excited to celebrate the first anniversary of TEDxPlattsburgh with you and to tell you about my youth female leadership journey and how it all started eventually. How very lucky you are to be a woman. No homework, no studying if you don't want to. And you can just get married, really, and your life would be saved and spared, said my back then 6 or 7-year-old little brother. I was having dinner with my family, sitting in our cozy kitchen and having a casual dinner when the incident took place that made me become who I am now, an activist. I owe my early volunteer work-based career to that unfortunate judgment verbalized by my brother. Such a stereotype even led to shaping an innocent mind. I remember taking a deep breath, but what I can't remember is that which feeling was stronger, being furious or the sadness which broke my heart deeply. That was a moment when I apprehended whom I had to be, the voice of change. Most probably we found ourselves facing a discussion based on gender equality, willingly or unwillingly, really. But how many of us did question the matter as a fact with a huge impact on people's lives outside our close circle? I've always chosen to believe in people with the strength to create meaningful change within their community for a future where the words of diversity and inclusivity are seriously being integrated into the steps we take rather than being a pretty cover for tokenism. That future may not ever come if you do not decide to get your hands dirty, I remind myself. Living in a big city and raised in a modern family, I was partly blind, I would say, to the broad gender equality related issues and worsened by each day in my country. The spark ignited within me that evening and gave me the courage to reach out to the United Nations Women Organization. The email I sent to UN Women were the first step in becoming part of their He for She campaign, where I became the youngest representative in the country, Turkey, building He for She clubs at schools and training thousands of my peer students all across the country to make a difference in their communities. It was absolutely thrilling to see my work for the campaign being recognized, and I was elected to be one of the 300 National Gender Youth Activists for a 5-year assignment period. As 300 passionate young changemakers, we represent diverse young people across intersectional complexities, actively making a difference in our local communities aiming to bring our local views, voice, knowledge, and work into the global space to build back better. However, being a UN activist did not mean I was invulnerable. As an adolescent girl myself, I too was facing obstacles like every other young girl. Society is telling you you're not good enough, you're not meant to lead, I should wear makeup and have a smile on and not expected to be good at science and coding. I reached out and built communities with hundreds of girls through initiatives I have led. My internship at Girl Rising, starting the Girl Up Club in Turkey, founding Girls to Code in Turkey, creating We Ground Zero social platform, and many on. Through the international initiatives, I have constructed my belief system tied to a diverse and inclusive vision. And through leading them, I have learned to be a passionate and resilient leader who does not give up because things got hard. Through being a member, I have learned empathy and humility. Through being an activist, I have learned to commit to the common good. Devoting my time, mind, passion, and efforts to create meaningful change for the community has never been just a stop along the way, and it should not be for anyone. It is and should be our commitment to the future with a strong desire not to leave anyone behind, anyone, while trying our best to make the world we live in a more equal, peaceful, and inclusive home for all. Because there should be two questions echoing inside you continually. If not me, then who? If not now, then when? Thank you.
Awesome message from Celine. So if not me, who will be there? Who should be doing it? So this is for everyone to answer and get forward and do his or her part of what needs to be done. There are so many examples of things that can be done that have been expressed by our speakers today. Aisha, just let me give you, I think all the speakers have answered all the questions we intended to ask in the Q&A, so maybe we don't need a specific Q&A, but if any of the speakers would like to add a few comments before we get towards the last portion of the event today, that will be a good timing. Anyway, you can jump in anytime. Everybody has the capacity and the possibility to speak. So it's just to add anything if someone wants, or Aisha, if you have some comments after having heard the many great, insightful comments we had so far. Aisha, do we want to add something, or we can switch to the next step as we wish?
I can share some key takeaways. Those were great messages by all our speakers, and I try to take some notes. That's why you were seeing me like this sometimes, but I couldn't, of course. It could be pages and pages, but very short summary. That's what I would like to share. And before moving on to that one as well, I would like to say, just to give the right name, it's not advertising or promoting, but Tima has launched her first book, and it is called Curly Adventures of Mount Everest. And this is very important, I believe, because this is about encouraging children, especially young girls, to be resistant leaders with persistence and determination. So it's for children, but that is also Tima's passion, to encourage children to find out their passion and to be leaders in future. So that's why I would like to mention that one as well.
Good idea, and we'll put the link to the information on our book, which is another great message she's coming with on the YouTube channel page.
Yeah. So if I can share, this is the okay from anyway slideshow. So I'm not going from current slides. So Meral Güzel mentioned we need women entrepreneurs, and Women Accelerator program is a unique way, and UN actually supports women equality, so that is one. And Dr. DG Palmer mentioned war, its complications, the importance of arising mental health issues. So we need to revisit and rethink about self-image. And the great message again, we are all one, uplift each other, take time to listen each other. And Renahan mentioned hope to understand, to take care of each other and our world. That is hope we will have. And also Anna mentioned over extracting of all capitals, including human capital of the world, that is in global context, and self-awareness and emotional stability, self-awareness, clarity, and collaboration, keynotes to take. And also climate change, gender inequality, impacting each other, gender-based response from Jihan Urgan, and we still have hope, so we are moving forward. Sugi mentioned this, and it was a great message also in action, equal to responsible, and also empowering self-voice, UN activist, empowering young women, resilient and passionate leader. If not me, who? If not now, when? And that was by Selin. And then under all these great messages, hopefully there are more messages, please listen more and more and one more time, but just under all these, under the light of all these messages, I think we need to take impactful action for inclusive youth and women leadership in particular in a powerful approach, and that will be together and through collaboration. And all the success of this action will be dependent on, in my perspective or in our perspective, our self-leadership, whole leadership. First, we need to empower ourselves. And hopefully 500 empowered women will mean thousands of lives change for the better good in 2025. And I believe that we all can contribute to that through our unique works. This is my short summary.
This is a great summary. I think you highlighted so many of the great items that we've heard today, and indeed we'll add a few links on the website you were talking on and on the YouTube page. And by the way, that it comes to one thing I wanted to, and we wanted to announce, is we have a new website for TEDxPlattsburgh, which will be published in just a matter of days. On that, we'll have a reference to the YouTube channel and the other things, including the Well Forum, so our forum on LinkedIn. So there will be a kind of community of things, and we'll put forward also all the great initiatives that have been mentioned today. The UN Women Initiative, indeed, and CJ will definitely mention what you're doing at Sustainable Impact, and also maybe put forward your great song, which I think so much is so much motivating and so much. It's current. What you've written a few years ago, it's absolutely applicable now. Definitely more important than ever, and all the others initiative that we've talked about. So. It's for our speakers also to put forward the great things they're working on, and also things that they want to put forward even from others, and for us also to recognize the work that is done. It's time to act, so that's why we're definitely pushing to make sure that there are all people which needs have a voice, can say, can give and solutions, approach, and speak about ways to get forward in the good direction. So many directions we see right now looks like in the wrong side of the fence, and we need to, for the forward thinking people and the one that wants to improve it, we need to talk. We cannot let the messaging being done only by other groups which are taking us back decades behind. We were giving the example of war in Europe, which kind of 80 years behind, coming back up front, but there are so many examples of that. And even not talking about climate change is just in itself an issue. This is the COP27 starting in a few days. This is an important one, not because it's more important than the others. It's because we're advancing. You recall maybe the decade of action that was called upon by the UN. It will be 3 years ago in a few weeks. So we're already a third of this decade of action that has passed. We just still have 2/3, a bit more of it. So we need to take action. We cannot wait at the end, because what was the purpose of this decade of action is 2030 will be the year where things will never come back from where so right now we already see these disasters and the things that are causing the things that are caused by or over consuming and in the emissions, emitting emissions that were referred to earlier, or the CO2 emissions. They're causing other struggles by ricochet. So we need to act now. And to act now, we need to take care of our mental health. We need to take action ourselves and put that forward in our communities, in our countries, in amongst our colleagues and friends. So that was great to be with you all today, this exchanging and getting your absolutely insightful and forward-thinking messages. Absolutely pleased of that. Maybe Aisha, you want to add a word before we're leaving? Just you give the great. So you have the links, which we'll also put on the YouTube channel definitely, and on the new web page, and we'll put you in the loop to let you know that in fact TEDxPlattsburgh's is the .com. It's easy, so I can give you the insight right now, and we'll have sub pages related to the Salon events and the countdown events down the road. So it's a startup of the website. It will just grow. You can already go and see it if you'd like, by the way. It's just not promoted, but it's already there. Okay, so you wanted to say I didn't mean to cut you, I say, but you want to add something on that?
No, that was great. And I just would like to thank all speakers, our lovely, amazing speakers. And I think we need to continue on working collaboratively. I think we can create amazing impact. Why I'm saying that, I'm not giving the name, but yesterday I was at one of the conferences before COP in Glasgow, and it was a very important conference. And again, that was great insights, great ambitions, great interventions. But again, I'm highlighting it was about fragmented approaches, just very focused on climate change, but no mental well-being, not women leadership, and any other aspects of UN SDGs. So I think this community, with all speakers, are great mindset, and we can create change, because this is, I think, what the world needs, rather than this fragmented approach and thinking. Absolutely. We need to create awareness. So,
inclusive, diverse background, diversity of people, and we just showed it another time today. Thanks very much all. That was the first year celebration. Definitely, it's just a start for us, and we'll be in touch for sure in the coming weeks. And we have an event in a month, by the way, just recall, on TEDx Countdown, TEDx Plattsburgh Countdown event in a month in December. We'll come back to you with the details soon. Yeah. Thanks.
And thank you very much. And hopefully in future we can have our ambition to have a real stage where we can all meet together and have a celebration cake, birthday cake.
Another step that we'll soon get toward. Thanks. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.